Hey everybody, it's Tim from GymCrafter.com, and it's Friday again, which means it's time for another 5-Minute Friday where we take 5 minutes, we put it on the clock, we try and give you one tip that'll make your gym a better place to be. All right, as usual, we're going to start by putting 5 minutes on the clock. I can't tell you how many times I use this. Watch one of the previous 5-Minute Fridays for a full explanation of what this is and how you can use it. A couple of Fridays ago, my tip was, if you can, to store your weight plates equally on both sides of your rack. That makes it easier for you to load things without having to walk around the rack to get different weights. The less extra stuff, at least for me, that I have to do when I'm loading and unloading a bar, the more apt I am to actually change weights when I need to. The other benefit of having it on the side was the ability to safely load weights. Instead of picking up a weight and carrying it around the gym, what I can do is take it here and load it straight on the bar. And that's a benefit. Now, a lot of people reached out to me, not a lot, 3 people reached out to me after that video, and they pointed out that that's why they were thinking about rolling weight storage. And you see this sold on most manufacturer sites. You've got these big giant industrial casters, and then you've got, I don't know what the capacities are. I mean, huge capacity to these weight trees where you can load all your weights on this thing and then you can roll it around your gym and you can put it where you need to. And while in theory that sounds like a great idea, that was actually the first weight storage solution that I tried here in this garage gym. It was actually one of the very first things that I bought. And when I first set up the gym, it was working okay. It's still a pain. It's actually easier to just move one plate than to try and move the whole rack of plates. So it doesn't really fix the storing things on each side. But here's the big heads up that I want to give to folks if you're considering a rolling weight storage solution. If you're using rubber flooring, and everybody should be using rubber flooring in their gym, and whether that's dedicated gym flooring like I have, and I've got a few videos on it and a lot of articles on it, whether you're one of the folks who are big fans of horse stall mats and you go that route, one commonality of all of that flooring is, guess what doesn't work on that type of flooring? Rolling weight storage. As soon as you get even 100 pounds or 200 pounds, let alone 5, 6, 7, 800 pounds on this rolling storage rack, the casters will sink into the rubber, and it's darn near impossible, if not completely impossible, to roll that storage around. Also, when you leave it in one place, those casters over time will sink into the floor and leave not permanent dents. At least I've never left in anything long enough to do that, but it will sit down inside that, so moving it becomes even harder. So if you have a hard cement floor and that's what you're working with, these rolling solutions tend to work okay. But if you're working on rubber flooring, they're not the best solution. So what do you do instead? So a couple of tips. This on-wall rack by Titan Fitness, I'll put a link in the description below, is a great way to do it. You don't need a ton of room. There are some vertical weight trees that aren't on wheels. If you're gonna store it on the floor on like just a regular weight tree, don't spend your money on the wheels, just get a weight tree that sits on the ground. And then if you've got a rack that's got the second section, now if you're buying a rack like this that's 30 inches deep, or some of them are shallower than that, 24 inches deep, even though on the ads and on the websites it'll show you that you can put these little weight horns like you see up here, if you put full-size plates on those weight horns, what happens is they get in the way of this plate, and this plate will run into those stored plates. So the only real good way to store weights on your rack is if you've got the second section behind, which I don't have room for here. But in the end, the 5-Minute Friday tip for today is, number one, I just want to make sure that people are shying away from those rolling storage units if they can, and then to give you some better ways to store your weights. But in the end, one of the best ways to make your gym a fun and usable place that you'll enjoy going to over time is if your weights are stored and neatly organized. It makes working out easier. It's one of my biggest pet peeves in commercial gyms when people don't put weights back in the right place, or they put weights back in the wrong order. So in order to get to a 10-pound plate, I've got to remove 4 45-pound plates. But get yourself some type of weight storage and get your plates organized. And if you possibly can, put them on both sides. But that'll really make your gym a better place, make it cleaner, easier, and more organized. So that's your 5-minute tip for today. 16 seconds left. I'm doing pretty well. And until next time, I'm Tim with GymCrafter.